You've seen them. The ones who always say, "I'm fine." They smile when they're supposed to. They show up. They do what's expected. They laugh at the right moments. But something about their eyes feels distant. Behind the warmth, there's exhaustion. Behind the calm, there's chaos. Behind the "I'm okay," there's often a storm that no one sees. These are the people who carry invisible weights, quietly. And the truth is, pretending to be okay has become their way of surviving. Why do people do it? Why do so many of us wear a mask that says, "I'm fine," when we're not? This is the psychology of people who pretend they're okay. From the moment we're young, we're taught the art of emotional camouflage. Don't cry. Be strong. Smile. Everything will be fine. We learn that showing pain makes others uncomfortable. We learn that silence is safer than vulnerability. So we build walls, beautifully decorated ones. The mask becomes part of who we are. We wear it at work. We wear it with friends. We even wear it when we're alone, staring into the mirror, convincing ourselves that maybe, if we say it enough, it'll become true. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'll handle it. But pretending takes energy. And over time, that mask doesn't just hide pain. It begins to suffocate the real self beneath it. Psychologically, pretending to be okay isn't weakness. It's survival. Let's go deeper. There are several reasons people hide their pain, and most of them are rooted in protection, not deception. We live in a world that praises strength and punishes vulnerability. People admire resilience, but they misunderstand it. So when someone breaks down, cries, or admits they're struggling, they risk being labeled too emotional, too sensitive. Drama. For many, pretending becomes safer than being misunderstood. Easier to say, "I'm fine," than to explain a heart that feels like it's falling apart. Life is unpredictable. Pain makes people feel helpless, but acting okay gives a sense of control. It's a small rebellion against chaos. I might be breaking inside, but no one will see it. I'm still in charge. Pretending becomes a shield, fragile but powerful. Because admitting pain means surrendering control, and that's terrifying. For some, it starts in childhood, when emotions were met with silence or punishment. When crying didn't bring comfort, it brought shame. So they learned early, feelings are dangerous. You deal with them alone. And so, as adults, they continue the pattern, bottling, smiling, pretending. Then there are the quiet empaths, the ones who don't want to burden anyone. They'll listen to your problems for hours, but never mention their own. They say, "It's not that bad," or "Others have it worse." But that's the tragedy of compassion. They care for everyone but themselves. And the world rarely asks how they're doing. So how do you know when someone isn't really okay? Because the truth is, pain has a language, even when it's silent. Look closer. They might laugh too easily, but their laughter feels rehearsed. They might always say they're busy, because silence feels dangerous. They might isolate themselves, not because they don't care, but because they can't keep pretending around others. They might say, "I'm tired," when what they really mean is, "I'm drained from pretending." Sometimes they'll post cheerful photos, while feeling like ghosts inside their own life. Sometimes they'll give advice they desperately need to hear themselves. Pretending to be okay leaves traces. You just have to look past the surface. Pretending doesn't come without a price. Because every time you hide your pain, it grows. Every time you smile through the hurt, you teach your mind that honesty isn't safe. And over time, something inside begins to fade. The emotions that once felt sharp become dull. You stop feeling joy as deeply. You stop feeling sadness fully. You just exist. Psychologists call it emotional blunting, the mind's way of shutting down when it's tired of pretending. And when that happens, relationships suffer. People say, "You've changed." But really, you've just run out of energy to perform. Pretending might protect you short-term, but it isolates you long-term. Because no one can truly love a version of you that isn't real. not even yourself. Eventually, the mask cracks. Sometimes quietly, a breakdown in the shower. Sometimes suddenly, a public outburst after months of silence. But it always happens, because truth can only stay buried for so long before it demands to be felt. There comes a moment when the pretending becomes heavier than the pain itself. A moment when someone says, "I can't keep doing this." And that is the beginning of healing. The first tear after years of silence isn't weakness, it's release. The first, "I'm not okay," is the bravest sentence a person can speak. Because in that moment, the mask breaks. And behind it, something beautiful reappears: honesty. When people finally stop pretending, they reconnect with their truth. And that truth, even if messy, even if painful, becomes their power. Healing doesn't start with perfection. It starts with permission. Permission to stop performing. To sit with your feelings, no matter how uncomfortable. To say, "I'm not fine. I'm hurting. I need help." And it's okay. Notice when you're acting strong just to avoid feeling weak. Notice when "I'm okay" comes too quickly. Awareness is the first act of honesty. Write it down. Say it aloud. Even whisper it. "I'm not okay right now." That sentence alone can change everything. Start small. When someone asks how you are, pause. You don't have to spill everything, but you can say, "I've had better days." It's real. It's human. And it invites connection instead of performance. Not everyone deserves your truth. But someone does. A therapist. A trusted friend. A journal. A community. Find a place where honesty feels like safety, not shame. Because once you feel that, you'll never want to go back to pretending. When you stop performing for others, you rediscover the parts of you that were silenced. The creativity, the softness, the dreams you buried under survival. Ask yourself simple questions. What am I feeling right now? What do I need? Healing is not about fixing yourself. It's about remembering yourself. Sometimes the ones who seem the strongest are the ones who need gentleness the most. So how do you help someone who hides their pain behind a smile? Start by noticing when their energy doesn't match their words, when their laughter feels forced, when they disappear for days, not because they're busy, but because they're struggling. Ask them, "How are you really?" And then listen, not to reply, not to fix, just to understand. Because often what they need isn't a solution, it's permission to be seen. Be patient. People who've learned to hide take time to trust. But your presence, your quiet consistency, can become the space where their walls finally fall. We often think strength means holding it all together. But the truth is, real strength begins when you let things fall apart. When you stop pretending. When you allow yourself to be fully human, flawed, feeling alive. Because vulnerability isn't the opposite of strength. It's the foundation of it. The people who pretend they're okay aren't broken. They're just tired. Tired of being strong for too long. Tired of being the one who never asks for help. Tired of smiling through pain. And maybe tired of living behind glass, watching life happen instead of feeling it. So, if you're watching this and you've been pretending, this is for you. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to keep being the strong one. You don't have to smile when your heart is heavy. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to not be okay. You are allowed to fall apart, because that's how people rebuild. Remember this. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that feels false. You don't have to be sunshine all the time. Even the sun rests behind clouds. Say it out loud, even just once. "I'm not okay." And then breathe. Because that's where healing begins. Not in the pretending, but in the honesty that follows. The world doesn't need perfect people. It needs real ones. It needs people who feel deeply, fall, get up, and keep going, without pretending to be invincible. So if you're carrying pain silently, know this. You're not alone. And you don't have to carry it forever. It's okay to not be okay. You are enough, even when you're not fine.